beautiful soul. This is a short reminder that it's important what you feed your being. All right. Not only physically with diet, but mentally, emotionally, energetically as well. Okay. Especially energetically and emotionally because our energy works hand in hand with our emotions. So it's very important, all right? Our diet of the things that we put ourselves around, right? In our environment, all right? The things that affects our energy, okay? The things that affects the way we feel, right? It's important to feed and nourish your energy with the things that empower you, things that allow you to flourish and thrive. Okay. It's important to feed your mental also with things that nourish you mentally, right? For example, the things that we read. Okay. What are you reading? Okay. Is it helping you to grow? Is it intriguing to your mind? Is it allowing you to expand your consciousness? Is it allowing you to grow in ways that adds wisdom and understanding of what's going to help you elevate, okay, your mind, your being, your consciousness, okay? What are you feeding your body, okay? This body, all right, that we were blessed with is a self healer, all right? Our body knows how to heal itself. It all depends on what we are feeding our bodies, okay? This body is equipped to heal. This body is technology, okay? This body is energy. We are energetic beings, okay? So everything that we put into our body, all right, has an effect. It could help us to heal or it can cause dis-ease. It can cause ailments within our body. All right? So everything starts on an energetic level. Okay? So if we are feeding our vessels with energetic food that serves to nourish our energy, that serves to heal our energy, that serves to protect our energy from things that are not in alignment with our true self, okay, then everything else will thrive from that space because it's a domino effect. Everything first hits our energetic field, okay, and then we feel, okay, which is the emotional body, all right, and our feelings determine everything else, okay? How we feel determines the thoughts that we have, okay? Sometimes, we hear it in reverse, right? Where it's like our thoughts determine our feelings. But, you know, that could be, that could be the case. However, I also feel like our emotions, our feelings also determines the thoughts that we think. All right. So, like I said, it first hits the energetic body, then it trickles into the emotional space. We understand from my last video that our emotions are our energy in motion, right? So, as energetic beings, okay, we are naturally emotional beings, all right? And it's important How we feel in every moment is important to what it is that we are creating in our reality. All right. So, in order to feed our emotions with the things that are going to allow us to enjoy enjoy our experience, enjoy our space, enjoy life, we have to feed our emotions with the things that are in alignment with our true self. Okay? Putting ourselves in an environment, or placing ourselves in an environment that's going to allow us to thrive, right? Doing things that we love. It's a matter of coming in tune with our authentic beings and understand what allows us to thrive, right? What pushes us to enjoy any experience that we are having in any given moment. Okay? Going down to the mental. So it's not just a physical thing where, okay, a lot of us pay attention to the physical part as far as, okay, what we eat, which is very important. Okay? It all works hand in hand. All right? Everything, our bodies work together. All right? Energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically. They work together. All right? What is affecting our energy, it also affects our mentality. It also affects our emotionality. It affects our physicality. And it's important to know. I just, felt led, spirit led to drop this reminder, so that we understand that the things we decide to watch, all right, it has an impact on our consciousness. It has an impact on our energy field. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this as an example as far as Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry movies, right? I've seen a lot of mixed comments and mixed reviews. And what I want to add or say to that is that, you know, I get it, right? A lot of people say, like, this is the reality and this is what, I can relate because I have been there. I can relate because this is real. Like, this is what, we have experienced as a people. All right. And I understand that, we kind of navigate towards things that we relate to, right? Because it makes us feel like we're not alone, right? Or we're not the only ones going through certain things, right? However, it's about rewriting the story, all right? That's not the case for everyone, all right? So when we have a writer or director or producer continuously putting out the same kind of content, what that does, it you know especially if you can relate to it or if you've been there, it triggers the nervous system, all right, to keep you in that place of being triggered. So what I'm trying to say is, I feel like it's time to rewrite the story. It's time to re-navigate, okay? Because there are a lot of us that are thriving. There are a lot of us that are living our most empowered lives and abundant and joyous. There are many whole happy families that are thriving, all right? And a lot of us are doing that despite of our past, despite of coming from trauma-filled homes, or having the experience of being single mothers. And a lot of us have changed that around, changed the narrative for ourselves, all right? And it's time to show a different picture, because when you show a different picture, it gives those that are still experiencing said experiences of trauma, it gives them hope. Okay, it changes your energetic field. Instead of triggering, instead of it being triggering to you, where it's like, oh my God, this is, instead of reminding you and activating the nervous system to that place of being in fight or flight, freeze or fawn mode, it takes you now to a place of having hope. It takes you now to a place of desiring more, desiring to be better, instead of leaving you in that place of hopelessness, of woe is me, and being angered. Do you know that emotions, especially the emotions of melanated people, have been used for centuries, okay, by religion, by politics, by Hollywood, by, you know, entertainers, to to continuously trigger us because we our emotional state of being means a lot for for them to thrive. Okay, so when we feed into the energy of what it is that they are pushing, we're giving them power. We're giving away our power to these people, by getting emotionally entangled in the narrative that they are wanting to push. And us having the most magnetic, most powerful emotions on this planet, they know that. Tyler Perry caters to a certain audience. Okay? He caters to a certain audience. All right? And the material that he constantly decides to feed that audience keeps them in that place of triggered, of being triggered. And that's feeding on the emotional capacity, the emotional value that we can use to change the story, to change the narrative. Okay? These people know that. So ask yourself, instead of them preying on our emotions, how about they produce material that's going to empower the emotional body? That's going to empower the emotional state, that's going to bring hope. Give that hope that's needed to say, oh, you know what? I am in control of my reality. I am in control of everything that I create through my emotions, through my thoughts. So when we watch these things and we're like, oh wow, this is so sad. This is so crazy. I can relate. I've been there. Oh my God, it's so sad. You know, don't get me wrong. The actors were phenomenal. All right. Shout out to Taraji. All right. Shout out to all the actors and actresses. Okay. It's not a matter of whether the acting sucked. The acting was phenomenal. All right. But it's a matter of showing us in a different light to bring hope to those that are experiencing this, to show the evidence that, hey, no matter what we've come from, we are in control. We have the ability to rewrite our story and change the story. Okay? And we can only do that by changing the thoughts that we're victims, changing that whole dynamic. I mean, I understand we've all had bad days. But can you imagine the amount of stuff, this lady experienced in one day, in less than 24 hours? And I could understand the divine, the female bonding. All right. Tiana was, the detective. She was trauma bonding. Okay. Where was the bank manager when when she saw Taraji or Tessa going into this bank every day or every week with struggling with her daughter and all this stuff? Like, why didn't she step up then? You understand? Like, why is it that shit had to hit the fan to the point where, I mean, all these things went down for now it to be. Why can't we just have empathy for one another without it getting out of hand? So yeah, I mean, that's my whole take on that. And that's why, yeah, that emphasizes my point on it's important what we feed our spirit, our consciousness. Because when we continue to feed our being with things that are triggering to our nervous system, things that remind us of pain, of course the subconscious is going to be like, yep, because the subconscious is, has remembered that we've been through that. The subconscious remembers everything. Okay, the subconscious knows that we've been through that, you know, ancestrally, and it's still happening. But that's only if we continue to enforce and enable that story. That's only when we continue to feed that narrative. It's time to change our narrative, okay? And people like Tyler Perry are profiting off of the pain and the emotions, just like the politicians and religion and all these, I'm gonna get into the whole, I'm gonna go into religion at some point because, yeah, I grew up in a religious background, you know, I experienced trauma, from my religious background. And it's not until I transitioned, and that took a lot for me to transition because in my mind, all I knew was religion. So for me, like even transitioning to spirituality, I thought I was doing something against God. Okay, so I get it. All right. And that's why it's important for us to heal, come out of these boxes that we have been programmed to think that we're stuck in. It's time to come out of this space of feeling like we're helpless when it comes to our own reality. Okay? And it's time to start rewriting our stories, changing, which begins with, healing our nervous system. Healing. It begins with healing and knowing who we are, knowing that we are limitless beings. Okay? What we are co-creators, creating with the Most High. Okay? The Most High does not control what we choose to experience. That's a myth. Okay? We have free will on this planet. We come on this planet to experience free will, which means the Most High does not intervene. Okay? That's why we see all this stuff going on, around the world, and people have the nerve to say, oh, where is God? God gave us free will, which means God will not intervene on the experiences that we choose to experience. All right? But God will, Most High, Divine Source, the universe, your higher self, whatever you choose to call it or relate to it, all there is, was, and ever shall be, okay, is going to co-create whatever it is that we decide to create through our energy, through our emotions, through our thoughts, and through how we choose to express. And that's a fact. So, yeah. Once again, just reminding this is a remembering, okay? We are remembering ourselves, understanding the limitless power that we contain within ourselves. And it all begins with what we choose to feed our beings with, energetically, emotionally, mentally, and physically.